Senator Bill Hagerty, member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee and all-around great patriot. Senator Hagerty, welcome back, sir. Let me talk a minute about Iran. A few points here. You know, we've done a great job. I mean, it's maybe the greatest story never told, but, you know, what is it? All hundreds and hundreds of ships are flowing through and hundreds of millions of barrels of oil. And I don't care what Iran may say with that Baghdad Bob and whoever else's nonsense. The fact of the matter is they don't control anything. They just yap away, but they're leaking oil left and right. That's why the price is coming down.
A great riff today, Larry, and you're bringing up a critical point. It's Admiral Brad Cooper, the head of CENTCOM, that is in charge of the Strait. You're exactly right. It's the United States of America that's driving the behavior there. And what we have is, increasing propaganda coming from the Iranian regime. They're great at propaganda. They're great at negotiations. But in terms of delivery, not so much. And their economy is in the tank. You see what we've done now. The ceasefire is over. You see Secretary Bessent stepping back in, removing Iran's temporary license to ship. That's gone. Sanctions are being reimposed. Economic pressure back on. President Trump has hit them very hard. I think they're realizing that the old playbook, the one they used with Obama, the one they used with Biden, will not work with this administration.
So, Senator, let me ask you about a couple tactical specifics. One thing is the oil sales sanctions have been restored to August 21st. Why weren't they? It should be permanently restored, it seems to me, point number one. Point number two, is the memo of understanding still in place? Is that still in effect, or is it now out the window? How do you read it, Senator?
So I would say, I've been talking about this with my team, I think that memorandum of understanding is on life support at best, Larry.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we've reimposed sanctions. If you think about it, the activities that have been undertaken, we're basically back at a point of negotiating from a position of strength, letting the Iranians know how it's going to be. And look, we tried to allow them to behave like a normal country. It seems to be beyond them to do that, so we're moving to Plan B.
So, all right, Plan B. I'm in the same page as you are. Why not just take Karg Island and finish them off altogether? That's their hub. That's the last thing they have. The domestic Iranian, mainland economy is absolutely devastated and decimated. They've still got Karg Island. That's the center for all the energy operations. We can take it. Marines, 85th Airborne. It's about 15 miles off the coast of. We wouldn't be landing troops in Iran. We would just land the troops there, take it, and to me that would be the coup de grace. Because I'm not even sure why we're negotiating at all at this point.
Well, Larry, the last thing I want to do is get ahead of the president and Admiral Cooper in terms of how they're going to execute this. If you recall, when we stopped the process, the target package that Admiral Cooper originally started with, we had completed about 75 to 80% of it before we went into the ceasefire mode. There's still a considerable amount of targeting that remains. Those targets, you've mentioned a few, are sensitive targets. They include human targets as well. I think we've laid these out. The pace at which Brad Cooper undertakes this, the pace at which the president directs him to do so, I think is certainly something that's within the realm of the White House to make that decision. But we're moving back in that direction again.
All right. Well, I'll leave it there. I don't want to front run the president either. I am obviously a big supporter of the whole Iranian war effort. Senator Hagerty, let's go back to the U.S. Senate for just a moment, sir. You all are coming back to work on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. Reconciliation 3.0. And I know we have military money. We've got to have the Save America voter ID stuff in there. Waste, fraud, and abuse, ending the corruption is very popular. And I am pushing hard, along with friends of mine, Steve Forbes and Art Laffer and Steve Moore and some others. I think there should be a capital gains tax cut in there, index it for inflation, increase the exemption for the sale of a home. That would help solve the housing problem. That would put a growth, another growth factor into the story, for the midterms, but also for just the American people. So how about the tax component? Let's start there.
I think it could be incredibly effective, Larry. You're exactly right. And you, yourself, Steve, are, it's just a wonderful group, great thinkers, and you've always been right about this. Indexing the capital gains on housing makes complete sense. Why should the consumer, why should the everyday man and woman in America pay for the inflation that Joe Biden created? That's exactly where we are. This will unleash housing stock. It'll unleash supply. It's a supply and demand problem right now that's made housing unaffordable. That's a great step. Another piece I'd like to highlight has to do with the regulatory front, and that would be adopting my piece of legislation that basically deals with taking away the $100,000. That's been the quantification of the cost of regulatory cost on the average home in America, permitting, et cetera, that takes place, about $100,000 added to the cost of a home here in America. That is something we need to address, first and foremost. My Freedom to Build Act would do just that. It would build on top of what we've already done with the housing bill, and I think just another area to move us in the right direction to lower costs for Americans. The reconciliation bill, this is something we've proven that we can do. We can address the Save America concerns. Listen, I want to see Save America passed. I'm a co-sponsor. I voted for it every time. I'm willing to move every direction we can, but we know we can make reconciliation work, and I think my colleagues in the House of Representatives are working away right now. You've talked about this early on, Larry, in terms of how to budgetize this, and I'm very pleased to see us moving in that direction. So we'll also add defense in this as well.
Well, look at, yes, the military spending is also very, very important, terribly important. Didn't want to leave that out. But look, I interviewed Speaker Mike Johnson, last week in D.C. He's for 3.0. He's for the tax cuts. He's for basically all this. I just don't see any movement in the Senate. All right? I don't see any movement in the leadership of the Senate. I'm not hearing Mr. Thune. All right? I'm a friend of his, but I'm not hearing him. It seems to me the impetus of this thing's going to come from the House over to the Senate. I don't know what's going to happen this week, but with time, we can't let the grass grow. The clock is ticking, as you well know.
I agree with you, Larry. We've got a short period of time here before we get into the zone, if you will, of the fall election. I think the opportunity space is right before us. The House is working away. I'm looking forward to getting Reconciliation 3.0 underway, and I appreciate the House taking the lead and moving it forward.
So is there, in the committees, is the Lindsey Graham Budget Committee, you got the Senate Finance Committee, you got a lot of work to do. Why am I wrong to be worried? Am I wrong to worry that when you left town, nothing much was on the table? I'm just not hearing it, Senator Hagerty.
So Lindsey and his team actually in the Budget Committee have been working on Reconciliation 3.0, and I think they've been in close contact with the House of Representatives. So my sense is we have been working on this. Save America has taken a lot of airtime. I think there are a number of ways to deal with it, but frankly, if it comes over in a reconciliation bill, this is something that we have been able to pass. We've been very successful at it. I'd like to see it move in that direction, and I think we absolutely can do it.
People are saying, this is the last one, and this is speculation. I'm not doubting your, efforts on this, Senator. We've known each other a long time. But people are saying that the impetus is going to come from the House, and the Senate's going to wind up following the House, that's the way this has to work, if in fact it's going to work in the next month or so.
It's fine with me however it happens. I just want to see the best outcome for the American people. I know you do as well. And a good product from the House of Representatives is more than welcome in my view.
All right. Well, Senator Bill Hagerty, we appreciate your time, sir, very much. Good luck. Take care.